Welcome to the Resonate podcast with Aideen. My guest today, Fiona Brennan, is a business success coach, mentor, and project management consultant with over 20 years' experience helping ambitious entrepreneurs turn their vision into reality through a blend of strategy, mindset mastery, and energetic alignment. Welcome, Fiona. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Aideen. It's such a joy to be with you because I know you for the last few years, and it's a pleasure to be on your podcast, your beautiful
Thank
podcast.
thank you so much. So we met through online networking during COVID. This is a time when a lot of people who had small businesses suddenly had the rug pulled out from under them. And we all ended up basically online going, what can I do here? Like, this is the space now that's relevant, that is an opportunity in, like, it was like an opportunity in all of the destruction that was happening around us.
Mm.
And when I met you, I just really admired your values and the work that you were doing. And I haven't spoken to you now in a little while, so I'm really curious about the journey you've taken with your business throughout COVID, and how coaching as part of your work has started to blossom for you.
Thank you, Aideen. Yeah, so 2020, God, um, that's 5 years ago. It's over 5 years ago now, isn't it?
Mm.
Um, Yeah, when the online world, I suppose, completely blew up, which was amazing because I had started coaching a little bit before that, and mostly with people nearby within driving distance. Because I suppose people weren't like, oh no, I couldn't be a client online. It just wouldn't feel good. But now actually, it is the thing. Um, but I suppose to go back to your question, maybe about how the whole thing started. Um, as you've introduced me there as project management consultant. That was my first business in 2017. I left the corporate world after, I suppose, 20 years and set up my own freelance project management business. And, there's a backstory to how that came about. But it was through becoming an entrepreneur, so to speak, a business owner, that I entered the world of coaching because I thought all I needed to do was just show up and repeat what I would have done for corporate. Just now do it myself. Just show up. I can project manage. Yeah, really good at what I do. Um, just rock on out there. But that wasn't the case because what I discovered was um, the mindset piece of me, the value I thought of me, suddenly became very highlighted and all within myself, like not visible to anybody else. Um, but against my confidence that would have been quite high when I was employed suddenly fell to the floor when I was standing there as myself, a business owner, 2 feet on the ground, but very, very wobbly. And I questioned, was I good enough? I questioned, who am I to ask for money? I questioned, yeah, my capabilities, my knowledge, my experience, everything. I questioned it all. And for the first year of running that business, while I got work, and that was mostly, I suppose, because I knew people in the industry, um, I struggled. I struggled with anxiety and stress, working all the hours and charging hardly anything. And being a mum of three primary school kids at the time, they were below 12. Summer kicked in that particular year and they're all at home, and I can't spend a moment with them. And the moments I do spend with them, I'm an absolute, well, antichrist or other words I could come up with to say, like, not fun to be around. So
Oh,
it was that led me into discovering, Googling one day, I don't know what I Googled, how to help myself or how do I get out of this, that I discovered coaching. And,
did
but it was
you
another
find a
problem.
coach at that point?
No, no, I didn't. I went to try and find a coach, but actually discovered the coaching school or training and spoke to the guy running it, and it sounded exactly what I needed. That was July of 2017, but it wasn't until March 2018 that I actually signed up to do the program. And I signed up literally to help myself with no other intention behind it. Why didn't I get a coach there and then? Because I didn't really know that they existed. I didn't really know what they did. And I just continued to firefight
Yeah.
for the next few
And
months.
and as well, you're highly educated. Everything that you've learned in the past had generally been through an education rather than
Yes.
like a mentor, coach, one other person type of scenario, which is quite new. I know it's like a buzzword now. Everybody, and we see a lot of coaches on the online world, but up until 5-10 years, Ireland people weren't talking. I mean, a coach was somebody that coached you on a team. Like that was the only coach we knew about.
Exactly. Or maybe a career coach was probably as most that you might have seen.
Yeah, for your
Get someone to
CV or
help you
something. Yeah.
for your CV, literally for that. But I guess, the other part of it was when you're a high achiever and when you're just so good at just figuring things out yourself, getting things done. The idea of, do you need somebody else to help you to do what you need to do? There's a resistance to that. And I see that in a lot of clients who come to me initially. There's a resistance. They know they need help, but they're like, it can feel like what's the right word, kind of giving in a little bit, or
A failure of some kind.
judged. Failure,
Yeah.
a judgment, a negative
Yeah.
judgment on yourself at some point. I'm not able to do this by myself. What does that mean about me? What does that say about me?
Yeah, but people completely underestimate the structure of a business. So when we're working for other people and there's someone else doing, the payroll, and there's someone else doing the schedule, and there's someone else doing all these different pieces. And we underestimate how much that kind of supports us in doing the thing that we do really well. It supports us in just doing that. And when you become a business owner, suddenly you have to do everybody's job, which is, it takes your eye off the thing that you're really good at. And then you feel
Yeah.
like you have to upgrade in all these different ways. You have to learn to do this and this and this and this. And it becomes overwhelming.
Yes. Yes. And it's a lonely road, especially if you're surrounded by people who are employees, because that's the space you came from. So most naturally, you probably are surrounded by more employees. So it's very hard to explain to others why you're struggling, that you're doing all these hats. And, I went through phases of resentment, you know, to others, in particular, I suppose those closest, i.e. husband, working late hours and you don't get it. And then there's little money coming in and you're like, what is this all for? But at the same time, you feel the call to keep going. It's not a thing of like, oh, here, I'll just give up and go back, because there's a pull there. There's a really big pull to why you started the business in the first place. So, there's this pull all the time. And I think that's one of the big things that catch people. It's just the need or the want or the feel that they need to do it all themselves, but yet there's so much to be done. And networking, you just said we met over networking. I mean, I had the project management business for 3 years as a business owner. And it was only when I started to start the coaching business that I discovered that networking was a thing. I was like, what? Like, what, even women get together, somewhere, and they go for evening, whatever, and they support each other. I was like, oh my God, I had just been hiding behind the computer and the project computer. So that was really interesting, that it took the coaching piece to realize networking was a support, not just a marketing. Like, networking is there, to help you market your business for sure. But the better and the bigger thing of networking is that support from other people who are doing the same thing, i.e. running a business. like you are. So there's that commonality of, you know, what you go through. So you feel like you're not alone. It's not just you. And what can we do together to support each other? You know, that's really important.
Definitely. Yeah. And there's so much value in following that path. You know, when we get that inspiration and we start to have a vision of, you know, okay, so there's more maybe freedom if I do this kind of work. Or there's more expression. So I get to be more of me. I get to bring more of who I truly am to my work, my gifts. Because if you go into a lot of workplace and employee situations, it's like they want a piece of you, but they
Yeah.
may not see the full picture of what you're able to do, and it's not appropriate for you to be doing those things perhaps there. So we know, I think deep down, that there is value in taking that step as as a journey for ourselves, but having that become our bread and butter and making that an income, that can be the difficult part, because we're marrying a passion with, you know, economics, which isn't always easy. It's like two parts of your brain, the creative side and the logic side, have to get together and have a baby
Mm.
here. So what was the journey for you in kind of finding that balance?
Yeah. And like, I suppose, just to add to what you were saying there, you know, there is that piece between logic and creativity. And I've actually just got a blank of them. I had to snugget to share now, and it's gone wafting through the menopause hormonal clouds there for a moment. It will come back.
Yeah, no,
But
I have.
anyway,
I'm guessing, right? So I know before we came on, you started telling me about working somatically with the body, you know, and how our body
mm,
needs to come with us. And you've also mentioned how anxiety was rising within you as you were working through your own business. So we're talking about here mentally, obviously the creativity and the logic, but then we also have that other piece, which is your physical and your nervous system ability to handle this um I guess it's uncertainty. Then I think I would say uncertainty is one of the biggest challenges of any business owner.
yes, for sure. And the element I was actually going to say there was making it about yourself. When we make the business about us, that causes a lot of anxiety, and that causes a lot of, I suppose, low energy,
What do you
because
mean?
low energy, low vibration. So because when we start out and we're a business owner, it's like our baby. So if the business is doing well, it's like, oh, that's great. Look how great I am, right? But when things are challenging, and maybe, you know, a sale didn't happen, or a launch, you know, plummeted, or whatever it might be, or products, whatever, didn't make the hit, we can make it about ourselves, but it's not about us. It's about the business. And learning to separate, and this has been part of my journey, and it's like, you know, oh my goodness, thank God, like I decided to open up a business at some point a few years ago, because I would never have learned all this. But to separate that, that's the business. It's not us. It's not you. It's not me. I'm still amazing. I'm still like whole and wonderful, just as I am. Whatever the business happens, whatever goes and flows with the business. Um, when we make it about us, it's where we really struggle, and that impacts our vibration and our frequency, and that actually does then impact the business. So it's not about us, but our energy has an impact on it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know if I explained that
Yeah,
properly.
no, I
So,
think that
you
made a
know,
lot of sense, because we are, the way I would put it would be, don't take it personally. Like, don't, rather than, I mean, it is about you a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Because you're if you're spearheading your own business, but you're saying that if you take the failures too personally and you take the successes personally, you're not seeing the business as a separate thing. And the business has to become some sort of a separate, have an identity of its own in
Yeah.
some way, right?
Yes. Yes. Because if you are, if you're the business owner, and whether you grow a team or even if you don't grow the team, you're still effectively the CEO of your business. But there's, the CEO, and then there's you. And in order to, like, so the business is keeping it separate. But it's that, if you say, if you have a launch, you have a program, or you have a product, the pass or the failure of that, the success or failure of that, has nothing to do with you as a person. It might have something to do with the marketing that you did or didn't do, or the client type that you did or didn't go to sell it to. But it's not about you. There's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And initially, I have found that a lot of business owners, people coming to me, make it about themselves. And that is where there's a struggle. And I think especially for women, more so as well, because I suppose there is that mothering energy that's there, and wants to make everything right and work well and make everyone happy, and anyone who's receiving your service or product, that natural instinct to, make it all whatever. But it's just, it's easier for us to keep our energy clean when we separate ourselves from it.
And how do you do that?
Well, I mean, you do that over time with starting to look at what story you're telling, where your beliefs are about it. So where are you on that spectrum, first of all? Where, how much are you in that right now? And then starting to maybe to shift that story slowly, and then, developing new habits, and looking after your energy from that point of view. So it's not a flick of the switch, but it's just, first of all, it's acknowledging it, becoming aware. How much of you are you in that? How much is being altered by the success or the failure of, what's happening in your business? And then starting to detach. So being connected, but not attached.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that is something that to learn to do. It's a mastery. It's not a point where, like, oh, okay, I'm there now. I'm at that point now where I've mastered. I'm always like, no, it's always ongoing. But the more you become aware of it, and the more you start to then practice to step back from it ever so slightly, and looking after your mind, looking after your body, looking after your energy, it becomes easier to detach.
So most business owners, if they're working for themselves, they had a moment where they realized, I don't want to do my job anymore. I know that I want to do something different. So what was the reason that you decided to take that step out of the corporate world into working for yourself?
Mm. It was very simple, Aideen. It was very simple. I think it was probably always there in the back of my mind, but there was a moment at a kitchen table moment evening, when I'm listening to the kids describe to me what happened that afternoon while I was at work, where the minder was picking them up and she was doing X, Y, and Z, whatever. And I just all of a sudden had this overwhelming feeling of, I want to do that. I don't want her to do that anymore. I want to be the one who is picking them up and who is, here. And I'd always had it, but I loved my job so much. It was kind of like, okay, well, look, make some choices here, Fiona. But this moment was actually very strong. And it didn't happen straight away from that, but that stuck with me. And I think that was underlying, starting to bubble up more and more. And then when we moved, we went through a phase where we were moving house and whatever, and kids were getting set up in new schools. And I was due to go back to my work. And I just knew I wouldn't go back because I'd taken some time off to do the move. And I just was like, no, I am not actually going to get a minder to come back into this new place. I'm going to do this. But I didn't know how because I was still employed. I'd only taken some time off. But I had this, again, very strong, like, I'm not going to do this to them, or whatever the right word for it. So it was really like that pull of, I wanted to be there. And then then I got a phone call really quickly afterwards from my boss at the time, thinking, oh, we're just going to arrange the date that I'm coming back. And actually, no, it wasn't about that at all. It was like, so some changes are happening in the company right now. Everyone's been contracted out, and you actually have a choice to make, to be contracted out or to leave. So I was like,
that's
isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? And I remember actually laughing. I laughed down the phone at him, like, not in a bad way, but it was just kind of like, I can't believe you're actually saying this to me. So it was a gift of being, I suppose, of permission to go.
Yeah, wonderful.
So it was a couple of months later then I left, wrapped up, so I didn't have to actually manage to get through those couple of months without having to get anyone to come in. So the kids then had me. And
you had them. Like, I mean, with the way you're speaking right now,
and I had them.
Yeah, because I think, okay, the kids were laughing and happy that the minder picked them up, blah blah blah. They weren't going, "Mammy, why isn't it you?" But you felt that you wanted that connection with these children, all under the age of 12. You didn't want to miss out. So when you eventually made that decision to leave, it wasn't just for the children; it was for you as well.
Oh, very much so. Oh, very much. Oh, yes, I could have tipped away as it was, and they wouldn't have known any different. Oh, absolutely. Like, this was for me, and yes, okay, let's say it's for them, but if they don't know, they don't know. But it was just a very strong pull. And when the job ended, I still went and did some interviews because still didn't know what I was going to do. And I went and did some job interviews, and I remember sitting in the job interviews, and I was ideal for the job, but it was kind of like, yeah, I could do this, absolutely no bother. And I'm thinking, going like, no, I don't want to do your job, thanks very much. I don't actually want to drive around here for 9 a.m. and stay till 5. I actually want to be back home. So that's when then a desire I had spoken out loud of about 3 years before that to a friend, saying, we were just going for a walk one day, and she says, what would you do, if you had whatever, I suppose, a choice to do something different? And I said I would do project management for other businesses. What I do in work, I would do for others. Yeah, I just went off and set it up. Had not a clue, not a notion what I was getting into, not a notion how you even set up a business, and just went for it. So the freedom and the flexibility to be here in the mornings, to be there in the evenings, to be gone and do the job I needed to do during the day, was the why. And yeah, just to to offer what I could in a different way as well, for it to be more exciting for me, as opposed to being in one organization. I could now actually bring this to many organizations, and that was exciting. That was different. So it was an adventure as well. I felt I had maxed myself out in my employment as well, and I felt I wanted something different and more. So it was adventure for me, and it was freedom and flexibility for me and the kids.
What would you say to someone who's at that precipice of making a decision to make a change in their work environment, to possibly become a solo entrepreneur or start their own project management business? What advice would you give them?
I would say to create some space for yourself, first of all, and just to hear what your body is trying to say to you. What is that pull that's happening, that when we're so busy, we don't feel it and hear it properly. We know it's there, but we keep brushing it aside, and actually allow that to come up and be the guide. And no matter how scary it is, because it is scary, to just trust that innermost feeling, and to then decide, to just decide, that's it, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to trust it. And even though all the things around you are probably nowhere even remotely supporting it, and the people around you may not be remotely supporting it at all, because it's not what's known in their zone as well as yours, trusting that innermost feeling of just going for it and trying it. Because when you decide, and this is something that's really important, when you're like, I don't know, will I, won't I, like there's so much against it, why would I even? But deep down, you still have this pull happening, like it's like it's annoying. And even though you ditch it and you just get on with things and you keep showing up every morning and doing whatever it is that you're doing, there's this gnawing going on. When you make a decision to go for it, what will actually turn up in your favor step by step is unreal. You won't know until you decide. You will not know. It's like, Harry Potter movie, and there's a piece in it where they step into this blank map, and the map is completely blank. But when they step in the first piece that they step into it, the next step appears, and then the next, and then the next. So it's that trust of jumping, knowing that the universe has your back. So as a great coach of mine says, when you move, I move. So when you move, the universe is saying, you take that step of that decision, the universe then moves with you.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And I loved how you mentioned earlier that you just wrote down a new vision. You mentioned this to me earlier, that when you've been at those turning points, because we have those turning points more than just that one. You've had many turning points since then. But what your strategy was you decided, right, if, I ditch everything I thought it was going to be, what would the new vision be? And you wrote it all down. And that's a powerful, thing to do.
It is. And creating vision is one of the big pieces, I suppose, of what I do, is taking that time to allow that vision of the unknown to, come to you, and to even play with it, to write down what is possible, because we're so good, and we're, designed to think about all the things that could go wrong. And when you give yourself when I said earlier, take some time out, take some quiet time to listen, whether that be just, sitting down in quiet stillness with a cup of tea, with no noise, whether that be going for a walk in nature or sitting by the sea, whatever your space is for you. When you allow that space and to think, okay, well, what if it could be different? What if it could be anything? And we all know the phrase, and we've seen the memes about, you're the designer of your life and you're the painter of your canvas, and da, 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 right? You get to choose. What does that actually mean to your everyday? It means you get to just write it as you'd love it to be. Write it and speak it as you love it to be, without knowing how, without knowing what, without even knowing when. Just
it's dreaming,
and playing
basically.
with it, not being attached, as I was saying earlier, to being not being attached. It's like that, the kid's letter to Santa, the they don't know how the hell Santa's going to freaking figure all this stuff out between now and Christmas. But I'm writing my letter and I want this, that, and the other, da, 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 and I'm posting it and I'm putting it in the post box and I'm trusting it'll make its way. And now I'm going back to whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing here. Maybe I'm supposed to be homework or it's out to play football or whatever it might be. It gets forgotten about. There's a trust there. And that's the piece. And I was sharing with you about earlier about writing the letter or the vision for something in 6 months' time. Again, that was just me being playful. What I love instead, what could it be? And let's get juicy about it. Let's throw all in all the stuff that it could be. And just throw it out there. And the piece then is coming back and turning up to your everyday in the best way that you can, and being in your everyday and not being attached to the outcome,
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. And I think, what would I love instead? What could it be? It's allowing yourself to dream. And it's then it just takes a little bit of confidence to say yes to the opportunities that come your way. Because sometimes they're right there in front of us and we just need to take a step in that direction. So this has been a beautiful conversation, Fiona. We are going to be wrapping up in a few minutes. Is there any last piece of wisdom that you'd like to remind our listeners about, and perhaps you'd like to share how they can get in touch with you?
So I suppose, it's bundles of I'd love to share, but I guess trusting yourself and trusting what's possible is a big part of it. Trusting that inner pull, first of all, and knowing that there's a reason why you're feeling what you're feeling. There's a reason why you've got that pull inside. And there's no magic quick fix to it. And anything that you see in marketing that's do my program because it saves you all the 10 steps, whatever. No, we've got to go through the journey we've got to go through. And our journey is our journey. So yes, and hindsight is a wonderful thing, but actually no, because you're supposed to go through what you're supposed to go through. It's just it. And it's all gorgeous. And it's your canvas and it's your, it's your quilt of life with all the patch for every year. But just trusting the pull is there for a reason. And even if the thread of your business why or business pull becomes so frail and thin at times that it's almost gone, hanging on by a thread, as they say, but literally even the thread is gone to shreds. It doesn't matter. It's just hang on to it, because once you say I'm hanging on because I know that this is where I'm supposed to be right now, and asking that question, okay, so if it's where I'm supposed to be, and if it feels like this is what I'm supposed to do, then what is one small thing at the point where you're most pushed? What is one small thing that I could do to just lift me further, lift me forward, whatever that may be? And if that's a phone call, if that's an email out to just ask someone for a bit of support, or it's just any sort of an inkling idea at all on what you could possibly do, just go do it and go from there.
Beautiful. Yeah, it is in the moment that those changes happen, isn't it? We have to trust the feeling within us is real and it's there for a reason. And then inspiration does come, and there usually is at least one thing. And even if there isn't one thing, like a phone call, it could be researching. It could be just typing into Google, how do I do this?
It could be. And it also could be just allowing yourself to curl up into a ball and bawl your eyes out, and until there's nothing more to give, and then standing up and dust yourself off and just say, okay, I'm doing it again. Let's go again. And it is that dusting yourself off. And by the way, like, just not being afraid to cry. And crying does not mean that anything's wrong. Crying is actually just energy in motion, and we all need to do a lot more of it more openly and stop judging it. It's nothing wrong. It's just, let's just move it up and out, so it doesn't sit and fester.
Yeah. Well, I love that.
And the solution to everything is a good cry, a good sleep, wake up the next morning and say, let's go again, back on the horse. Yay, girl.
Yay, let's go. Yes,
Yay.
I love it. And, you know, getting that support, I think, can be good. And I think, look, if you're listening to this now, if you need to go and have a good cry, you have our permission to do that. If you feel that you want support and you need to make a phone call to someone that you know would be helpful, you've got our permission to do that. Give yourself the permission to take another step. Give yourself permission to do what you need to do today. Because if you're stuck and you can't move forward, then you probably need to do something a little different to change things. And it's scary, but you're not the only one going through that. We've been through it too. And there are always more transformations ahead. So nobody's got it all together all of the time. We're both in a process, like a journey with our businesses.
Yeah. And it's a developing mastery all the time, and everything's developing, and, you know, you grow, your business grows. So, you know, things change. It's constant fluctuation, and that's okay. It's what it's supposed to be. It's not like a one and done. And can I just also add just what you said there about being stuck, whatever. What if you're never actually stuck? What if being stuck is just a trick of the mind? And you're never actually stuck. It's just telling you so to keep you the same because it's afraid. So if you weren't stuck, if you weren't actually stuck, if there was no stuck, what would you do?
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Fiona Brennan, based in Ireland, working with clients all over the place. How would you like people to get in touch with you?
Look me up on LinkedIn. Drop me a message there. I am under Fiona M for Mary, Fiona M Brennan, and you can DM me there, or look on my website, inspireactionsuccess.com, and you can send me a message there either. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, it's been really lovely having this conversation with you, Fiona, and fair play for getting through the last 5-6 years since COVID. And persevering and hanging on by that thread when we needed to.
Oh, yeah.
We've both done a bit of that.
Yes, absolutely. It has, I've had those moments of very, very fine thread. Yes. And I can happily say I'm so glad I didn't, and a couple of particular ones, just, used that to just pull back up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no matter how fine the thread is, hold on.
No matter how fine, it's all good. You know, no one's getting out alive. So what have we got to lose? Let's just go for
it. Beautiful. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you on the next episode of the Resonate
Thank you,
podcast.
Aideen.
Bye-bye.